Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are working on a really interesting project. We are going to attempt to repot this massive Christmas cactus. Look at this thing. It has not been repotted in 17 years. This is not my plant. This one actually belongs to a customer down at the garden center. So Erin and I went down the other day and my mom was showing it to us. A customer had just dropped it off and kind of gave her the whole story. They told her that this plant is over 200 years old. It's been in their family for that long. Now I can't verify that for sure, and I don't know if it's the original root ball or if it's cuttings. I know a lot of families do that where you have a really special plant and you give cuttings to family members and kind of let it live on that way. I don't really know the story of this one. I know they have taken cuttings off of it before and they have pruned it, but anyway, I just think it's the most interesting plant. I'm gonna try to do it to where we don't have to do a lot of pruning, because that wasn't the goal that the customer was after. They just really wanted it to be repotted. They said we could prune on it if we needed to, so I'm gonna attempt to not, but it kind of just depends on how it goes and how hard it is to handle, because these branches, they're not easy to work around. They're kind of like rigid but fragile in a way, like they can snap fairly easily. They don't have a lot of give once they've created, like hardened, if you look up in here, you can see some of the branches and how they have turned a little bit more corky and brown and hardened off a little bit. The thing about the Christmas cactus, as well as the Thanksgiving or Easter cactus, no matter which one you have, they all pretty much need to be treated the same way in terms of care. They look very similar. Thanksgiving cactus and Christmas cactus belong to the same family. Easter cactus belongs to a completely different family, but Christmas and Easter cactus look very similar. They have very rounded, scalloped leaves, and they just bloom at different times. So Christmas, of course, is December through January. Easter is in the spring, right around Easter time. Thanksgiving cactus has more pointy leaves rather than rounded, and then they bloom November through December. But either way, all three of them are types of epiphytic tropical cactus. They're not like your desert cactus that can go months between water. These need a little bit more care and attention. They don't want full sun. They need bright light but indirect. But either way, epiphytic means that they adhere themselves with their roots to things in nature, like trees, kind of like orchids do, or air plants sometimes. They'll adhere to trees or rocks and just chill there, very shallow rooted. So I don't know what we're gonna get into. Like, I don't know if the roots have grown into the sides of the terracotta pot since terracotta is so porous. So I've got a few tools out. I was trying to find anything that was skinny and long that I could perhaps find like a wider opening and slide it down and maybe cut in between, like a cake, like releasing it from the sides of the pan. I was kind of thinking I could kind of go around the sides and see what would happen there. I don't know. The customer fully expects that I'm gonna have to take a hammer to the pot though. So if I need to break the pot to get the root ball out, that is what we are going to do. I've got a larger container right here, as well as some cactus soil right here. I might need to get Erin in on this one because it's pretty heavy and awkward. So I'm really not sure how this is gonna go. This is some kind of garden knife from Gardener's Supply, quite heavy. I've got a reciprocating saw blade just because it's long and flat. Doesn't have much of a handle though without the saw, like the machine battery part on the end. Then I got this stake. I mean, that might work. I do think the first step is prepping our container first, which means trying to get as much of the soil in there as possible, because I don't want to have to be rooting around those branches once the root ball has been introduced to this pot. So I'm going to try to pack soil around the bottom and then around the sides. There's Erin.
How's it going?
Well, pretty good. I don't know how this is going to go.
Probably gonna have to break it.
You think so? You kind of want to break it.
I kind of do a little bit.
I do have the knives and such, so I don't know.
I don't think you'll be able to get into really.
There's a few spots. I think if I could get into one spot and just assess the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to stand up on a chair though.
I think it needs to be broken.
I brought a chair around right here because I have to get up over it. Let's take a look from up top here. You can see I can get right in right here if I'm super duper careful, just to see if it's stuck to the sides or not. Look at this thing. What a beast. What a beast, Erin.
It's a beast. Will
that thing go up? This right here is our overhead camera rig. It's kind of up in our business a little bit. I'm gonna scoot this over just a little bit so I have more room to work with my pot. So I do have an old piece of rag because this has got a giant drain hole on the bottom. I mean, that's huge. And this soil will just come shooting right out the bottom. You can use window screen material, which is probably the best. I'm out of that. So I've got this old piece of rag that I put like tiny little holes with scissors in, and water will have an easy time getting through that, and that'll just keep the soil up in the container. A lot handier. Really important to use cactus soil when you're working with Christmas cactus, because although they do need water more often than regular cactus, I need scissors. There we go. They don't want to sit in water. They need it to like kind of go in and out pretty quickly. So this is the best kind. Allows a lot of oxygen around the roots. I am gonna just try to gauge how deep this pot is. I kind of want to make a well the size of the pot that the plant is currently in. I'm going to do my best at guessing here. So I've got a layer in here. I'm just kind of packing it down with my hands so that it doesn't settle. I mean, I'm not packing it hard, but enough to where it won't settle a lot. Let's see. Take a look here. I think that's good. Now I'm going to try to get some around the edges, which means I might have to wet it down just a little bit. Yeah, let me go grab some water quick. Okay, hopefully this will help it kind of mold a little bit better. Oh yeah. I really wish I had the exact same size terracotta pot that it's currently in to sink in this one and pack the soil around it. That's such a handy thing to be able to do. Alas, I'm just guessing. Today I don't have that size of pot. I think that that is pretty darn close. So I'm gonna scoot this over, because I don't know how wild we're gonna get trying to get that out. Hopefully the soil stays put. First thing I'm gonna attempt, I'm gonna probably stand on this chair, but I'm gonna try to lift it up gently out of the pot. I mean, if we get lucky, it'll slide right out. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try it anyway. So I'm gonna slide it back this way a little bit. And I'm just gonna try to get my fingers around the base of this mass here so that I've got it cradled as good as possible. As good as possible. Is that the right way to say that? Yeah. Oh my goodness. No, it's not gonna release. Okay. Whew, dang it. So now I'm gonna go in with the reciprocating saw blade first. And I'm just gonna try to see what it's like, see how thick that root ball is. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I can't even get between the pot and the soil with a knife.
Really?
Okay, let me try this. We're gonna probably have to break it. The thing is I don't wanna do it too hard either, like, cause I don't wanna risk anything. I think I need to go get a hammer, you guys. Erin's excited. All right, guys, I'm gonna move this pot to the ground just to clear our working space here. Erin, do you wanna get in here and hit it with the hammer?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. If anything goes wrong, I want it to be by your hands.
Oh, that's mean. Okay, here we go. Why is terracotta so easy to break until you want to? Oh, it's starting to. Okay, I'm gonna reposition it. I'm gonna push it a little bit forward. I don't want it to fall off. That would be tragic. Okay, I'm gonna move it again. There we go. Oh my goodness, is that the root ball? Oh my gosh. The root ball, you guys, is insane. Can you see that root ball? Try not to manhandle these leaves too much, but that looks like another pot inside there, that's the root ball. No wonder I couldn't get a knife in between the roots in the side of the pot. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, that's about the other side. So let's see. Move it forward. Look at that. Nice. Rotate it a little bit more. You know what? I don't really want all of these leaves snagging on all of this stuff. Uh-oh. I have to reroot that piece. There was one that was already kind of dangling. Hopefully that was it. I've never, ever done this before. Never had to break a pot. I mean, I've cut plastic pots to get like big trees out and stuff, but never like a nice pot. Okay, that one's kind of snagged. Erin, I need your hands. Oh, it's snagged down the root ball. Wasn't a leaf. Well, that's all she wrote for that pot. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I can't believe it. I think I'm gonna grab a tape measure and I'm gonna measure this root ball before I put it in the other pot to make sure that I don't have to lift it back up to, you know, level it up at all. So that will be the next thing. I'm gonna clean up these terracotta pieces too. Boy, that's intense. Well, the root ball is clearly root bound at this point, being 17 years since the last repot. Typically, you want to repot things every, 4 or 5 years or so, and usually you bump it up into a pot 1 to 2 inches wider in diameter than the previous one. It's hard though. If your plant is doing well, it looks fine, it's still blooming, it's kind of like, why mess with a good thing? And I think that's why plants get to this position. And you can tell that a plant is root bound without looking at the root ball. If you see signs of stress, if you see leaves starting to yellow or brown, you might notice that the soil is incredibly hard, which in this case, I couldn't even get a knife down into the soil. So that's kind of when it might be time to bump it up. Also, the water might just shoot right through the pot. And even with cactus soil, the water will kind of stay in the pot for a second before you see it come out the bottom. But if you've got a root bound plant, sometimes they pull away from the sides of the container a little bit and water just kind of gets right through them and it doesn't really saturate the whole root ball, which can stress the plant out. So I'm just gonna get in there. I don't want to do anything too rough because I don't want to break any of these branches. So I'm just gonna get in there with my pruners and just kind of scratch the root ball a little bit, open it up a bit before we put it down in this container, which I think I'm gonna have to add a little bit extra soil to the bottom. I'm glad I measured. I don't want it to sink right down. We wanna leave about an inch lip or so in the end. We're really close. There is nothing worse than having to lift a heavy plant back out of a hole. Erin and I just planted a spruce last week. We had to lift or scoot twice after we were done planting it, because it wasn't quite right and it was so heavy. Okay, so that then is about right, I think. Perfect. So now I'm gonna get in with my pruners. I'm not gonna really even open them. I'm just gonna use the tip of it just to scratch the root ball bit. In cases like these, it's really nice if you can introduce some moisture to the root ball and kind of help it make it more workable. But in this case, I can't. I can't do that. I just don't wanna mess with this plant too much. So I'm just gonna get in here and just kind of do some work with my pruners. Well, I'm gonna open them up and kind of snip a bit. We're just breaking that root memory a bit. Kind of breaking a sweat here. I think I'm so stressed because it's not my plant. Gotta be extra gentle. I don't care if I break branches off mine, but this is different. Okay, I'm just gonna keep working on this root ball a little bit, all the way around the base of it, and then we'll get it potted up. You know, as I work more and more on this, I think it might benefit it if I get a little saucer with some water and let the root ball just sit in that for just a minute and soak in a little bit. It is so dry. I'm just gonna let it sit for a few minutes in the water. The water isn't soaking up into the root ball near as fast as I thought it was going to, and I did take a knife and I went in and kind of shaved off some of the outer edges and was able to expose some larger roots in the center, which was pretty satisfying actually. And then I took a large syringe, like this one right here, and I stuck it into the saucer. In fact, I'll do it right now, and I'm sucking up some of the water in there, and then I've been able to put it in over the top. And it is soaking it in from the top a bit. So I feel like the root ball is saturated enough, and we've done enough roughing up of the root ball to actually replant it. So here's what I'm gonna try to do. I might need Aaron's help. When I lift up the root ball, I think we need to pull the saucer full of water out from underneath it, and then I'm going to plop it down in this pot. And hopefully all goes well. It fits perfectly, and I did not break a branch. That is awesome. I'm gonna have to add a tiny bit of soil around the root ball, but not much, it's feeling like. Oh, nice. I'm gonna clean up just a little bit, just the water, and then we'll add a little bit more soil, and then we are done. My goodness. And so far, like, I don't wanna jinx anything, but so far this is the only thing that has fallen off during this process, and I think it was the one that was already loose in the beginning. Okay, I'm just gonna pour a little bit of soil in and try to tamp it around the root ball as best as I can. But other than that, we'll probably give it a final little rinse over the top, and then we should be good. Well guys, it doesn't look a lot different, but there it is. It has been repotted. And I am just so proud of it. I love doing projects like this every once in a while. Something that's a little bit challenging, that makes you slow down and really look at the plant. I did find, like I just saw this right here, I found a couple of dried up leaves in there, not much. Whoever is taking care of this is doing a really good job of keeping them groomed, but I did see like one of the signs of stress. So see right in here how the leaf is yellowing, and it's kind of like puckered, almost like it needs water, and then there's some dried up, there's a dried up leaf right there. So things like that, and then the soil being so hard. When we were repotting, I think I already showed you this. This is the only branch that fell off that looked good. So I'll make sure that that ends up with the customer as well, in case they want this piece to root and create a new plant. And then this was it, you guys. Like, there wasn't very much in the plant. I was honestly expecting to run across more things that needed to be groomed out. As far as pruning goes, you can take your Christmas cactus down by about 1/3 every year if you want to keep the growth in check. Or you can do it if they're just looking kind of spindly and they need a recharge. It can help them branch out and be bushier and a little bit more dense, if that makes sense. And then repotting, typically you keep your plants on a schedule. I don't know if any of us actually keep them on a recommended schedule of repotting. Typically we just wait until signs of stress, and that's when we do it, I think. I mean, maybe I'm a minority. Maybe you guys are much more diligent with your repotting than I am. But this would probably be, like, this reminds me of something that would happen in my house. Like, if it looks good, don't mess with it, just keep watering it. And then if it starts to look a little bit sad, then we'll address the problem. But overall, this plant looks really healthy. The root ball, I didn't want to over manipulate it because it's not mine. Again, I was trying to be very tender. I did shave off the outer part of the root ball, and then underneath I kind of roughed that up pretty good, and then the very top part, but I didn't really like break the whole root ball apart. And I think the plant will thank me for that really in the end. And then for fertilizing, what I do with mine, I don't know what kind of care this one has been given, but typically I would start to fertilize mine when I see new growth in the spring. So that could mean, oh boy, I don't know, March, April-ish. And then usually just go through midsummer, once a month through midsummer, which might mean 3 or so applications. They don't need a lot of fertilizer. And the best time to repot for a Christmas cactus in particular is after they're done blooming in the spring or early summer, which it's technically early summer still. It's only been summer for a couple weeks. When you do something like this, like a big repot, and you mess with the roots and things like that, it might set it back a little bit, and it might kind of upset the bloom cycle for the next season, but hopefully not. I mean, it's only July. Hopefully it has a chance yet. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I think I already mentioned they like bright light, no direct sun. They like temperatures like we like. Honestly, it probably wouldn't love being outside right now when it's over 100 degrees. They like temperatures between like 65 and 75. They can go a little bit cooler at night. That's why they make such an amazing houseplant. But they do need to be subjected to cooler temperatures and longer dark periods in order to trigger blooming. We've done a video about it before, a long time ago. I don't even know if I want to link it. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to show you this spectacular plant, how big it is, and what the repotting process is like, because I wasn't even sure what it was going to be like. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.